Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Tyler Adolfo. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today, I'll be doing a reaction video to George Carlin on drugs. Let's get right into it.
That was that. That's how that went.
And this isn't a stand-up routine. This is just him actually doing an interview, or being interviewed, rather. And I came across this and thought to myself, I can't think of a more perfect video to react to as we approach 420. And here we are.
People who deal in content that's on the edge as you do oftentimes live a life that's similarly on an edge. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those people go off the rails.
Yeah.
And we lose them and their talent. And you've been able to not do that and been able to pull it back in and
another luck stroke. You got to have luck in this world. Part of it's your genetic makeup. That's luck. And then what you do with it is also part.
Sad but very true. All of life is influenced by genetics, but a big part of the degree to which we can influence our lives is limited by genetics too. Unfortunate, isn't it?
Genetic, because hard work is genetic. The desire to do hard work, the willingness to work hard and be determined and not be turned aside, that's all genetic too. It can be altered and a little reinforced, but some of the people who had so much edgy promise, they died young. I mean, Lenny Bruce, Sam Kinison, Andy Kaufman in his way,
sure.
Freddie Prinze, John Belushi, Bill Hicks.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know, of course Bill had a natural disorder of his own, I think so did Andy, but it's not always behavior, but sometimes it's just genetic. But it's just that I think there's a degree of luck and intellect involved in giving up things that hurt you. The drug and alcohol thing, it seems to me, comes down to this. Drugs and these things are wonderful. They're wonderful when you try them first. They're not around for all these millennia for no reason. First time, mostly pleasure, very little pain, maybe a hangover. And as you increase and keep using whatever it is, the pleasure part decreases and the pain part, the price you pay, increases until the balance is completely the other way and it's almost all pain and there's hardly any pleasure. At that point, you would hope that
everyone I've spoken to who's done drugs, alcohol, has said the exact same thing, that's been their experience. The pleasure goes down and you need more and more in order to get that same hit. To replicate that same feeling, you just need to increase the amount that you use each and every time. And some people use so much that they have to take like an unbelievable amount in order to get any type of high at all.
the intellect says, oh, this doesn't work anymore. I'm going to die, and I'll do something. But you need people around you who can help you, and you need something to live for. You have to have something to look forward to bring you out of it. You know, there's a lot of people who don't have
a sense of purpose. It's hard to come by. It's easier said than done, that's for sure. Finding a sense of purpose is extremely difficult. If you have one, congratulations. Consider yourself lucky. I applaud you.
A lot to live for, and they're sort of stuck inside.
Was there ever any fear that by giving up the drugs, you lose a bit of the genius by giving up the wild lifestyle, sanity being the enemy?
Well, that has been a canard for a long time, that most of this creativity comes from being wacky. And I'm sure there's a lot of truth in that, as far as just being plain old wacky. Where the drugs are concerned and alcohol, they do seem to open a window for you. They do seem to broaden the vistas at first. The thing you have to do is learn when, it's like all these great writers who became drinkers. You have to sort of, I find with pot, I'm not a big drug user anymore, but I have always a joint somewhere near me. Hidden. Might be hidden. And what I do, and I hardly touch it maybe once a month, that would be frequent for me. But when I'm writing something, and I write perfectly straight, perfectly sober, and I write a whole lot of stuff, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages, and I really pour it out, the next day, one hit is all I need now. One hit, and it's punch-up time. Time to get this thing going. And you do find, with that sort of judicious use, I find there's some value. in it. But most of the things we use don't let you leave.
Man, the things that I would do, the things I would give up in order to have one afternoon in conversation with a high George Carlin, that would just be incredible. I can't think of something more amazing than that. What a surreal experience that would be.
Them alone. They don't. Pot does. Thank goodness for that.
Well, that's excellent. What? Sorry? You can applaud if you wish. That's more than fair.
And I dreamed a path that was...
So now we have a separate interview. That first one was with Jon Stewart, which is pretty awesome. I didn't know that they had an interview together, so I'm going to have to watch that whole entire thing at some point. Because two of my favorites right there. I like Jon Stewart a lot too. I've always thought he was very funny. Very comical compared to the competition that existed when he was on and that even exists today. He was always far superior to them in my view.
Traditional comedian, disc jockey, comedian, actor, big success, a mainstream dream. Meanwhile, what I really was an outlaw and a rebel because I had lived that kind of life. I got kicked out of 3 different schools. I got kicked out of the Air Force. I got kicked out of the choir. I got kicked out of the altar boys. I got kicked out of summer camp. I got kicked out of the Boy Scouts. And I quit school at 9th grade. I had great marks. I was a smart kid, but I didn't care. They weren't teaching what I want. I didn't give a shit. It's important in life if you don't give a shit. It can help you a lot. And I was I was a pot smoker when I was 13. We broke the law. We broke into cars. We broke into offices. We broke into Columbia University. We broke into stores. We did all sorts of unlawful things. And I was that kind of person. I was one who swam against the tide of what is expected and what the establishment wants from us. But I didn't know that about myself because this dream blinded me. This dream was about America, about the path that we all follow, the middle of the road, middle class, America, mainstream will dream. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there like this, fuck those people. Fuck that shit. Look at this stupid shit. No, I don't want to be in the bunny number. Can I get out of the bunny number, please? I don't want to put on that fucking uniform. And I didn't know this dissonance was inside me. And in the period this is happening, all through the 60s, the counterculture was forming. The free speech movement started in Berkeley. The hippies were growing into a force. Peace, love, flower power, pot smoking, anti-authority. See, bing, ding, 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 anti-authority. Throw over the establishment. Burn down the math building? Wow. Ding, 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 ding. So I gravitated toward that because I was that person, really. And the people I hung around with were that way. The musicians I knew in the late 50s had gone through that transition. Suddenly they looked different, and their music changed. And I'm listening to people like the Buffalo Springfield. I'm listening to Bob Dylan. I'm listening to these people, and I realize these artists are using their talent to project their feelings and ideas, not just please people. And I began to take some acid and some mescaline. I didn't overdo it. I had a couple of trips that weren't the best, but I had a lot of great trips. And that is a values-changing drug. Hallucinogens are a value changer. So is marijuana. Like it or not, it changes your values. It opens up windows, doors of perception, Aldous Huxley called them, and you see things differently. And I suddenly was able to see my place and to realize I was in the wrong place. You see, in 1967, the summer of love, the peak of the hippie movement, I was 30. I was entertaining people in nightclubs who were 40, and they were at war with their kids who were 20. There was a generation war. I was in the middle of it. I was 30, 20, 40. And I'm going, I said, what the fuck am I doing over here? These are the people that will at least understand me and give me a chance. I was just expanding. I was just expanding naturally. It wasn't forced. I had denied that part of myself, and finally it came into full flower. And I never became a really big success until that.
This is my comeback.
All right, everyone. He covered a lot in that. He went into politics and culture a little bit. Talked about the decrease in pleasure as people use drugs more and more frequently, his own experiences with drugs and hallucinogens, and how he experienced different trips, and which trips he experienced more, which type, positive, negative. He had a lot more positive experiences. That was really good. George Carlin on drugs. So that was not what we normally look at. We normally look at stand-up routines, but interviews are just as good too. So I'll be taking a look at his interviews as well. Especially as I've looked at so much of his stand-up, and at some point I will run out. Although it will be a long while. I could probably do a reaction video to George Carlin every single day for the rest of this year, and still have plenty more to do. But I'm gonna mix it up and look at some interviews too. So I hope you're all cool with that and enjoy that. But if not, there will still be reaction videos to his stand-up routines as well. So I appreciate you all stopping by. If you're new, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that subscribe button. Leave a like and comment down below so that more people can see this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.